Hello everybody and welcome to this playthrough for Pro and Expert Division with Varys Win for the Sierra Plateau, new course in Golf Clash in the Spring Major Tournament. Unfortunately, I can't get my camera at home to work, therefore you will see this playthrough to be completely camera-less. But I will give you some very good content here to follow and hopefully bring some help to the Spring Major Tournament. Before we take a look at all the videos, make sure to hit the thumbs up button, also subscribe to the channel and turn on the notifications. For those of you that are looking for premium content, the content that will make you stand out from the masses and also allow you to spend less time in practice and waste a lot of balls. That is to go to patreon.com/golfclashtom. You can find the link in the description down below, or you scan the QR code here on the screen. You then get to all our packages where you select the package that suits what you want to be better at. And obviously for the Spring Major Tournament, we're doing Pro, Expert and Master Division guides, updating for the wind changes throughout the week and giving you the best possible platform to allow for crushing your competition. Follow the info box on the right hand side to get the club distance adjustment, elevation adjustment, also what ball and club type I suggest you to play with. Have in mind that those are all suggestions and you don't have to follow it if you don't want to, but there's always a plan behind it. So let's go to hole number 1. On hole number 1 and the drive, that offers us different possibilities here. We can either go left or we can go right. In my opinion, going left means that you're going to have much more downhill on the approach than going right. However, though, when it comes to going right, it leaves you a longer shot towards the pin. And I do think that kind of evened itself out in the end. Playing on the left-hand side here using 5 topspin and half a bar of left spin. Starting at plus 10. With the blue ring by the rough line with a poke 8. Have in mind though that as always making sure that with these playthroughs you can adapt the position and the spins with lower level clubs as well. Adjust max plus 20, you can see that we're playing this one, I would say, a decent bit downhill. The idea here with this type of play is to make it as simple as possible and roll as far up the fairway possible without risking rolling into the rough. 370 yards approximately is what we are looking for. When it comes to the second shot, now we're going to play this shot massively downhill, right? And therefore I go with the thorn as a short iron, because with a Falcon or any other club that do have a better accuracy than the thorn, then there's going to be a lot of rings to be needed to be pulled. But with a thorn, it's easier because you have less rings to pull, but also the rings are bigger, and as we can't really zoom in as much as we would maybe like, it gives us a possibility to be more accurate, even though the accuracy is worse with the thorn. From plus 1, I'm playing max plus 40. I do have the ball guideline slightly short of the hole, as the thorn does not have a fully developed ball guideline. Center the ball and hit perfect, and we're gonna see ourselves having a good chance for an eagle to start with here on hole number 1. And I do believe that starting off with an eagle, if you're gonna fight at the top of the tournament, then it's going to be something you kind of have to drop at least most of the time. For hole number 2, we can either play on the left side of the tree or the right side of the tree while doing a rough bump. I think it's a smart move from them to actually put a big tree there to just make sure that we are struggling in terms of finding a good line towards the pin. Here, using a ball with a lot of side spin is extremely helpful, because if you can use a side spin 4 or even a side spin 5 ball, you can put yourself further away from the hole. What I'm doing here now, not from the hole, from the tree. What I'm doing here now is using 2 backspin, 3 right spin, aiming at the very edge of the rough line, with being just left of where the ball guideline arc is shown being clipped by the tree. True club distance with 10% elevation and hitting perfect. And you see us then going, past the tree on the left hand side, dropping dead center. What I would recommend here though is use the left side of the tree whenever you have a wind that is left to right. If you do have a right to left wind, use the right side of the tree to do a rough bump. The rough bump is, in my opinion, the way to go on a par 3 like this to get somewhat any type of consistency for an hole-in-one. For the drive here on hole number 3, you can do many different ways. You can see there are so much fairway to make it difficult for us as a player to make a decision. You can here push the drive pretty hard and get yourself up into short iron range. I'm gonna explain why that could actually be a negative thing once we're looking at the second shot. Setting up at top of plus 10, I'm using a very minor amount of topspin and also some right spin, weirdly enough, because we're going left. And the reason I'm using right spin is to allow for us to use full left curl, because I do believe that using max curl is so much easier to reference than using some type of in between. We do want the ball to roll down nicely like that, and then we are attacking the pin. The thing we need to have in mind though is that you can play the drive much more conservative and lay up short. What that's going to open up is a sniper from distance, and that's definitely not something to remove from your thoughts, because that could absolutely be a way of playing. Now, we're playing this one with a massive elevation drop. You can see how much downhill this is, and I'm playing this one from close to max distance. What you need to have in mind though is that I judged the true elevation to be plus 40%, but this shot that I'm playing here in the video is played plus 60% just to be able for us to aim at the hole and then counteract for the wind. And now here comes the thing. Right, you can play the shot like I've been showing you here in this playthrough, that you can push the drive hard, but that leaves a very elevated short iron. Or you lay up conservative and you do play a long iron or a wood club from distance with much less elevation. It's up to you to decide, and I'm honestly uncertain to what choose myself when I'm going to play, because it's nice for the short iron, but the plus 60% as I'm playing in the video, and like the true elevation being 40%, is massive, and it's going to require really good focus there as well. But hole 3, a kind of a short par 5, offers a good chance for an albatross. I would rank hole number 4 as the toughest par 3. This, as I do believe that going for the pin, it's going to have to be a rough bump, otherwise it's going to be so much luck if you're gonna get this shot in the hole. It's still gonna be some luck involved. What you need to have in mind though is that the tree and the bushes on the left are in play, so if you are too far left, then you will clip the bushes or clip the tree, and then you will roll out for a wedge and just get the birdie. You can use any of the fairway paths as well, where of the right fairway path or fairway island is the way to go if you're gonna use any of them, because the first one is super inconsistent and bumpy. The one to the right is also very bumpy, and especially it has a massive elevation drop, which is going to be big problems. When playing the rough bump, I'm playing 20% elevation through club distance. If I'm playing on the pad, then I'm going to play much more elevation, because I then have to counteract for the secondary bounce wind effect as well. Close to an hole-in-one, hole 4. Once again, it's going to be the toughest of the par 3s. Take your game to the next level with our Ultimate Tournament Text Guides for Pro, Expert and Master Division for the Spring Major Tournament. New course and a major. It can't be more exciting than that. And obviously, if playing the major, you want to do well to get the special banner, but also if you are serious with your clan, you can get yourself much more clan points as well. And that's going to be an amazing thing for all of you. Sign up on patreon.com/golfclashtommy. You can use the link in the description down below, or you scan the QR code here on the screen. You get access to our text guide, but not just that. Also the video guides that we are doing, combined with the Telegram chat access, which is our support system to allow you to get help along the way. So you're not just stuck there with a guide and then you hope for the best, but we are there all steps on the way, and they want you to be a better tournament player. So sign up and improve your game now. Hole number 5 is not a long par 4, but there is loads of trees, and there may be a way of sending this one in some way. I'm not sure, because I do think the trees are covering most of the angles that would be, because we're gonna have to kind of curl around the bushes and the trees there in the center. So what I decided to do is use the left side of the center trees and use all the right spin that I can and some topspin. You don't need much topspin here. You don't have to use a big boy driver either. I mean, you can see I'm setting up a +10, which can be easily replicated with lower level clubs. I play the drive 10% elevation, and I'm playing it max club here as I'm setting up close to max line. No curl whatsoever as the side spin is doing the trick, and we can see here now the ball bounces on the fairway and around the trees and rolls nicely up, and here you can see we are very close to the pin. The second shot, what I would say here is the difficult part with the second shot is all the glitches that are on green. I was actually a bit surprised when I was gonna take this shot because the ball guideline was going so much back and forth here when trying to set up. Could be that we need some side spin, could be that I'm a little bit too high up or too far back. I mean, you can see the ball guideline there. It's not a fun ball guideline, and if you're playing into a glitchy spot like that, you're gonna sometimes drop it and sometimes you're going to stay short or roll long. So what I would recommend here is to try to do the prep work better than what I do. Find a spot that will give you a much better ball guideline towards the pin, or you can also do what the thorn is kind of meant to be doing as well sometimes, which is to go with all the backspin and go past the pin and roll back. That could be one way as well to remove the glitchy area from your shot. You can see here now that I hit the glitch and comes in with a massive amount of speed, dropping it dead center. Playing no elevation, true club distance, can play this one range from in or with what type of shake. However though, hole number 5, regardless what wind you have of tee, this is going to have to be a drop. Otherwise you will be, in my opinion, one shot after your opponents. On the drive here on hole number 6, I would consider this hole together with hole number 9 as the two most difficult holes to consistently drop shots on. But at least from second tee here, I'm playing with at P3 NMT. So I'm not touching the target until it's time to adjust rings. I'm swapping to a P5 ball, making sure as well that I'm going to play with the Cataclysm, or let's say like this, whatever type of wood club that gives you a lot of power. You can see how much downhill this is. I judge it 20%, could be slightly more, but 20% is what I judge it. I'm using a 5.8 top spin, 2 left spin. The goal here is to bounce and then bounce before the rough and then roll down this fairway pad. Now I'm a little bit too far left and actually very lucky to stay on the fairway. You can still reach from the rough there, that's no issues, you can bounce yourself towards the pin. But the idea of getting that far is to allow for either a bounce up shot or to go for a rough bump towards the pin. I'm gonna show you the aggressive rough bump because you know me, I like rough bumps. So we're gonna do that rough above the bunker. Again, you don't have to go with this type of shot because there is a fairway pad before the bunker that you can bounce up towards the pin. The issue with that pad though is that you do not have, if you don't have more than 2 right spin, it's going to be tough to aim at the hole. Now 5% elevation and then whatever really the check is telling you to do. You saw that I did a frame check, and that's something that is very important to a shot like this. We do have a perfect ball to come, and this is going to show that are missing just right. Again, aggressive approach, but sometimes on tougher holes like this, taking a more aggressive approach will give you a much better look at the albatross. But an eagle on hole 6 is definitely not something to be mad about. Hole number 7 offers a lot of possibilities here, I must say. When it comes to our shot here in tailwind, you can see what I'm looking for. I'm looking to have, before spin, the second bounce just into the rough, there by the green with our grizzly. Now, All right, so the elevation I'm playing here for this shot is honestly absolutely stupid, but this is because I want to land further back when I aim, and also having this massive when it comes to, first and foremost, the elevation from the drive to the tee shot to the first bounce, and then also what happens after the first bounce, because it's downhill all the way. I'm adjusting this one with a 100% extra elevation. Sounds silly, but that's actually what I'm doing. Is that the true elevation? No, it's not. I judge that to be 20%, but as to counteract for the wind push from the first to the second to the third bounce, and also obviously to the rollout, we're gonna have to use a lot, and especially when my intention is to find a solid landing position, which is where I can aim at a hole, but I still want to land further back. I need to add even more. So me just messing around with elevation there is truly just something that I'm doing to suit what I'm looking to do. But if you're looking for the true elevation, 20% is what we're looking for. If you don't want to do a double bounce like that, you can always go for a rough bump at the first piece of rough, and that rough bump is honestly a very nice one as well. But the problem is, if you do have a tailwind, we are adjusting from a lower to a higher point, and then the ball will gain loads of distance. It's going to be very easy to miss the rough. Hole 7, tough one, but not the toughest of the par 3s. On the drive here on hole number 8, we do have a slight headwind. I would recommend to go on the right hand side here to play. The reason for that is that it will be much less elevation if you lay up on the right than what it would be if you lay up on the left. I would recommend to use as much topspin that you possibly can. Here I'm using 5.8 topspin, this to relate to even to lower level clubs. Adjust max plus 15, one ball of left curl, trying to go max overpower with a super slow needle. This to gain as much distance possible without having to go with any shaky overpower. I'm pushing the ball to be left because you can see that this fairway here slopes left to right. You can see how much it rolls down to the right, and if you are not far left on this fairway, you will risk rolling into the rough on the right. From here, now with only 5.8 topspin on our drive, has to be said, we do have a short iron towards the pin. So, but the reason I do want us to go with as much topspin as possible is because we do want to stay away from playing close to the bunker, because it is a little bit glitchy when it comes to being close to that bunker with our first bounce, and that's not something we want to do. There is a sand there as well, but sand bumping with a short iron is not something we will be doing. No elevation, true club distance, and we are making an adjustment with our thorn. Center the ball to hit perfect, and this is going to be a good chance for a drop. Perfect ball it is, and you can see that using the left spin there is helping stay away from the glitchy spot and dropping dead center on hole 8. In my opinion, another good chance for a drop here on one of the par 4s of the Sierra Plateau. Hole number 9 is definitely an interesting par 5 in my opinion. If you do have a tailwind, you can actually send this one and be lucky to get around the green if you're using a topspin boost ball, or you can get to the second fairway island on the top right by just using a standard ball. However though, we do not have that now, so we are going to play this one as a layup. So we'll lay up on the first fairway. The intention here is to have the ball to roll as far down the second fairway possible. We are just making sure that we're not rolling into the rough, because if we do roll into the rough on this drive, we will not be able to reach for the green with our second shot. There is a left side play as well, but it's somewhat dependent on having tailwind. You can see here now that I'm making sure to roll as close that I feel comfortable with my drive to the rough. Max plus 20 is the drive, and you can see there as well that I'm not using a berserker, I'm using a kingmaker here. Using a ball with more power is not going to be bad. It's just going to be a positive thing in terms of that you will put yourself in a situation where you may be able to actually play with a sniper on the approach. Because if you do not play with the sniper, that's going to have to be a wood club that gives a lot of power. I don't think playing on the right side here is going to bring any joy. So I recommend to go bouncing on this pad in the center. The difficult part though, obviously, especially when you're playing with a Cataclysm or a Big Dog or any other club with a lot of power, but with slightly worse ball guideline than, let's say, the Sniper, it's very easy to misjudge the speed, which is also what I'm doing. 10% elevation through club distance. And you can see here now that the ball comes in pretty hot. But again, in headwind, this is, in my opinion, going to be a very difficult par 5 to drop albatrosses on. There will definitely be possible, but it's going to be difficult. So an eagle here on hole 9, it will definitely be the most common score if you do have a headwind. Thank you so much everybody for watching this playthrough for Pro and Expert Division with various wins for the Sierra Plateau and the Spring Major Tournament. Hopefully you got some ideas now for the tournament. And if you're looking for premium content, the content that makes you stand out from the masses when it comes to winning medals and such in the Spring Major Tournament, you sign up on patreon.com/golfclashtom. Use the QR code on the right or use the link in the description down below. That will allow you to be part of a community that does give you the best guides on the market and the best experience as well in becoming a better Golf Clash player. So check it out, and I wish you the best of luck in the Spring Major Tournament.